You are listening to the Tribe Architect podcast. I am your host, Razvan Popescu. For this episode's guide and resources, please visit thetribearchitect.com/4. And now, let's get to this episode. Today, we have with us Roman Fisher, a dedicated high-performance coach committed to transforming people's lives by helping them improve their physical and mental health. Welcome, Roman.
Yes, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I would like to start by asking you, what makes you awesome?
What makes me awesome? Well, I would have to say really just being, myself more than anything, not trying to blend in with the crowd, with the norm. I don't try to go along with the, next big thing, so to speak, and I just try to create the next big thing. Yeah, it's, a lot of people throughout their lives tend, and sometimes they don't even know that they're doing this, but they'll actually go right along like a zombie with the very next big thing that comes out. And it's not to say that following, trends now and then is like bad, but it's good to have your own identity, your own independence, and your own actual passion path in life. And there's so many different things you can say about that, and there's different aspects to this. It's a very broad thing, a very broad topic, indeed. Some people with career, for example, a lot of people will go along the path of just trying to, go through high school, then go through college, get a 9 to 5 job, and pay taxes, get married, maybe have kids, and just go from there. And some people, if that makes them happy, that's great. But instead of taking that, conventional, wisdom, advice, and instead of just following the same, routine everyone else's, whether it's with career, like I was just saying, or if it's, just getting like the next big thing, maybe you're, wanting to get a new cell phone. You don't always have to have the newest cell phone. So basically just don't follow the crowd all the time just to make yourself happy. Like, make your own self happy, have your own path, have your own identity. And if you want to get the next big thing, that's great, but don't feel like you have to do it just because everyone else is doing it around you. So in short, really just for me, it's just having my own independence, my own identity, and walking to the beat of my own drum.
Fair enough. I think we all should follow that path, because I think that's the best way to do things, instead of
Yeah,
copying other people and doing stuff that because someone else
exactly.
is doing it. Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah,
the
just being authentic. Yeah.
authenticity. It's a must-have from my point of view.
Oh yeah, authenticity is definitely the simplicity, but it's also just very great for anyone to have.
Exactly. Okay, and now let's go to your story. How did you get here?
Yeah, well, buckle up because it's a long story.
That's okay.
So like the very, very beginning, the very start and origin of my whole story, how I even got to where I am currently now today, it was a while back and how it all happened. Because I'll be honest, I was not always really into health. I was not always into fitness. Like, I didn't always watch what I ate, what I drank. I did not even really care to work out, whether it was lifting weights, doing cardio, or any physical activity for that matter. So I was really more, I wasn't super sedentary, but I was more along the lines of sedentary, if you will. I would just lounge around, play video games, go to school when I had to, just because I had to, I guess. And then I would just come home, play video games, hang out with friends, hang out with family, especially on the weekends, and then just eat basically anything and everything in sight, no matter what it was. Could be somewhat healthy, could be very unhealthy. And fast food was definitely no stranger to my diet. So I was not at all health conscious like I am today by any means. But, while that was the course of a lot of my childhood and for sadly a lot of my life, up until the last, I don't like 6 or 7 years, there were a few things that did, pivot me from that lifestyle where I was not very healthy, and you could really just say unhealthy, to where I am today. So back then, I was always that skinny kid in school, And people, not everyone, but some people now and then would, poke fun at me, make fun of me for being that skinny kid. And obviously, that's not a great thing to do to anyone, to try to hurt their self esteem, no matter how they look or what their body type is or body shape is. But that was one thing I experienced quite a bit growing up, especially throughout my school career, if you want to call it that. And then, yeah, that was definitely a hindrance. It really hurt my self esteem. But there was a thing that made me want to change my physique. And it wasn't just overnight, but seeing my brother lift weights and seeing him gain that strength, that muscle, because he was also fairly skinny when he was, through school, just like me. And then seeing my younger brother, though, pick up the weights, lift the weights, and seeing that transformation gradually, slowly but surely, see that transformation and that overall just, new physique that he got for himself. That really inspired me to want to make a change, because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, look, I'm skinny. He was skinny. If he's making this transformation with his body and he's my younger brother, especially my younger brother, I can do this too. like I can do this too. So that really gave me that push, that fire to want to go all in, go all out with my fitness journey, with my fitness goals, as far as the workout side of things and building on that strength and muscle on my body. From there, I still lacked, a healthy diet, so to speak, or just eating clean, or at least mainly eating clean. I would still, snack on a lot of candies and junk food. And it was not still really something that was good for me, because, yeah, weightlifting is good, but if you don't have that diet to back it up, I mean, your weightlifting is only going to do so much,
Exactly.
sadly, and you can't really outrun the fork. So that's what I like to say to, all my clients and regarding my past. But yeah, that definitely was a turning point in the sense of me weightlifting finally. Now, when it came to the diet and what I was eating, what really, had me change that, because I was a heavy sugar addict, a very heavy sugar addict. But seeing my and this was a really rough, more serious, definitely a more serious, circumstance or event in my life that took place. And this happened right when I was 20, so really like 5 years ago now. 25 now, but 5 years ago, my grandpa, my mom actually happened to get the news first before me, and before her, her brothers. Her brothers found out from just being around Wisconsin, because that's where my grandpa was from, and that's where he lived basically most of his life. And yeah, my my uncles, or my mom's brothers, they got the news that, yeah, he passed away. My grandpa passed away. He was someone I was very close to too. So that's a very important thing to note. I was very close to him, being my grandpa, and I wouldn't see him every day or anything, or every, few months, but it would be, a couple times out of the year, each year. But those moments we had together, like, they were very special. They were very, precious. And yeah, we really connected. um just so that was a really rough thing to, you know take to reality, honestly. And it really shocked me at first. She found out through her brothers, and then I found out through her. And then after that little moment of shock for that time there, I then got in that depression. And then when I saw him at the funeral, that really, like, that hit me, and it hit me hard. And honestly, too, um I remembered actually breaking down and crying at the funeral. So that's how much it hurt me. I mean, that's going to hurt a lot of people, especially when it's someone that and it's someone you're really close to in your family. So that really, really made it hard. Um, and so initially, you would think that would just hurt any and all motivation down the road for eating, clean, eating healthy. But what was really good is, while that was a very hard thing to deal with, what, came out of that bad was the fact that, because and here's how he actually passed away. He passed away from cancer, and it was through a lot of different things, but one of the key core things was, just eating unhealthy, eating a lot of sugar. And he was a sugar addict, come to find out. So that was actually something I had in common with him, sadly. And I really analyzed that because while that was a really rough thing to deal with, that also inspired me to not want to go down that same exact path for myself and my, overall health and well-being. And I was thinking, it's like, sure, if I'm eating sugar, I'm not gonna, die overnight or anything, because sugar is not, it's bad, but it's not that bad where you're just gonna, die the next day. But over time it can lead you to that same exact destination, and it's not obviously a good destination. So that really spoke to me, and that really had me wake up, if you will. So from there, I just made it, not an instant change. I wouldn't say that, but I made a gradual change, right around when I was 20. I was already trying to, better my health with the weightlifting, already at that time. And even when I was about 16, I was already doing that. But I really got serious about my nutrition when I was 20, and I've been very serious ever since. But it was mainly because of my grandpa passing away. That's what really gave me that push to just make a full on just revamp transformation to my overall nutrition. And then from there, yeah, I didn't cut it out overnight, because you can't really go cold turkey, just like with anything, because sugar it's an addiction. It's kind of like a drug in itself. It's crazy. Most people don't think of it like that because it's so widely available. It's so easily accessible. But just like with alcohol, just like with any drug, legal or not, any drug out there that's legal or not is gonna, addict to you, and it's gonna keep you there unless you gradually make a change and try to get out of that, said drug, said toxic chemical, whatever you're putting in your body. But sugar was my drug that I had, that I was addicted to,
And
just like
very
my
very hard to
grandpa.
avoid actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's the thing,
It's
because
in
it's so
everything.
widely
So
available. Exactly. Yeah. And, there's different types of sugar. There's added sugar, which is, sucrose. There's natural sugar found in fruits, which is fructose, which obviously, both sugars in heavy excess amounts are bad. But if you have natural sugar, that's better between the two. And you can afford to have more fructose or fruit sugar compared to
anything
the
natural
added
is better
sugar.
than artificial.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what, when I'm saying sugar to you, I'm really stressing that, I did cut down on some of the fruit that I was having. I didn't have as much fruit to lower some of that for my overall health, but what I was really cutting out was the added sugar, and I kept that to a minimum ever since. I mean, some days, like, even in the past few weeks, I'll have weeks where I have no sugar at all, like no added sugar,
How do you do
and I'll
that?
just have maybe, yeah, and that's a great question. So first off, and that's why I was saying about, doing it gradually. My first recommendation is to, really piggyback off of that, to gradually cut out sugar. Don't do it overnight. Don't act like this is something that you can just do instantly. Just like with alcohol, just like with any other drug on the planet, you can't just quit overnight. I mean, if you're one of those like rare, like 0.1% people that can do that, I mean, all the power to you. But more than likely, you're probably going to be like everyone else, that you can't just cut that out right away. Now, it does sound good to do that on paper, because the quicker you get it out of your body for good, the better, of course. But that's not how your body likes to work. So your body's going to fight against you as much as it possibly can in that instance. So with that being said, gradually cut it out, just to put it in a general sense. Now, to be more specific with that, I would say gradually cut it out, but do it in very, very, very small increments. So just depends on where you're at too, with how much sugar you're already putting in your body. But if you're consuming, let's say about, the added sugar that you're having, let's say you're having, because 36 grams of added sugar is the recommended amount of sugar that we should have at the most, no more than that. And sadly, most people would go well above that.
Yep.
Just with one bottle of Coca-Cola, you're already getting like 46, maybe even 54 grams of added sugar. It's been a little bit since I've looked at the bottle, which is good, but that's roughly about how much that is. So you're already going above the average just with one bottle of Coke. But if let's just say you're having, 2 bottles of Coke a day. Let's just keep it very simple. Let's say you're having 2 bottles of Coke a day. And let's say you're doing that every day throughout the week. So 2 a day, 7 days a week, each week. My best recommendation is to, instead of cutting both out, try to just cut, one of them out and just gradually just cut them out through there. And then eventually maybe have half of that one and then a fourth and then just eventually just none. Yeah. So, and obviously that's a very, very small example, and that's a very, quick example, but there's a lot, more that goes into that than that. So, but that's just a really quick example on how you could gradually cut out added sugar and do it successfully. But again, just make sure to do it gradually in very, very small increments. Otherwise, you're going to run the risk of, going right back to it because your body's going to crave that. So it needs to have some of it in its system still to not want to really fight you as hard, if that makes sense. And then the quicker you have it, out of your body, when you're slowly off of it, then it'll be easier to fully be off of it. But that's like the very first step. Just gradually cut it out. And then my next recommendation, honestly, is having more natural sugars. So, great example. Oatmeal. A lot of people love oatmeal in the morning for breakfast. It's like one of the staple breakfasts, especially in America and probably a lot of, countries in the whole entire world. But when people have oatmeal for breakfast, they oftentimes will add sometimes, brown sugar or white sugar. Either way, they're both, bad in high amounts. So it doesn't matter if it's brown or white, it's still going to be a lot of sugar eventually. So instead of having brown or white sugar to your oatmeal, what you could do is add a banana, add some blueberries, add some strawberries. And if you want to have, a little extra taste to it, you could even add some peanut butter. I
Okay.
know it sounds great. It really is good. And because peanut butter at most will only have 1 to 2 grams of sugar at the most in one serving, at the most. And sometimes you can get peanut butter without sugar. That's what's really cool.
Honey, I think is better than any type of sugar, but even that is a little bit too much, right?
It can be. Now, I'll admit honey in itself is good for your body. I mean, there's health benefits to it. I would be lying if I said otherwise. But even with honey, just like with anything, you want to limit that. So, and I'm not saying you can't ever, use brown sugar or white sugar. I'm just saying
Yeah.
limit that as much as possible. And if you can cut it out, great. But one of the things that you could have that has sugar in it in moderation that's still good for you is honey. I would say honey before brown sugar because of the more of the health benefits that go into the actual substance of honey. Because brown sugar doesn't really have any health benefits. It's
Correct.
just a
Yeah.
sweetener. Honey is a sweetener, but it has some, properties in it that actually is good for your, immune system.
Can be also an antibiotic from what I know. Manuka honey from
Exactly.
New Zealand.
Oh yeah. I just recommend when you have honey in your oatmeal, you can have it in there, but take maybe a small teaspoon and just have a very small amount. That way you're still getting some of the benefits without having way too much, sugar from that honey.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's really just gradually cutting out the added sugar, replacing more of the added sugar when you have added sugar with natural sugars like fruits. So that's my next recommendation. And then last but not least, just really, and this is more of a mindset thing, and this really is where it all comes down to anyway. Just understand it's a process and it's not overnight. Understand it's a process. It's not overnight. You're human. You're gonna mess up, especially in the beginning, because this is like a new thing that you're doing. You're training your mind and just your overall body from there on really a different eating pattern. So it's like it sounds kind of corny, cliche a bit, but your stomach is actually learning a new language.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Basically. So you just got to give it time to adapt to that, said new language.
Yeah, very interesting. I have a 5-year-old boy, so of course, boys they like
Yeah.
sugar, they like anything sweet. So, any idea, any recommendation, any tips how you would be able to teach him, to show him? Of course, example is the best thing to do. Fair enough.
Right.
So definitely,
Always.
I need to learn that so I can pass it to him, because I can't ask him to do something that I can't do. That's the first step. I'm aware of that. But do you have any other tips to help me and other parents with convincing kids to eat less sugar, or replacing with something else, or whatever tips related to that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question, because a lot of kids are so heavily invested and I hate to say it, but even heavily addicted to sugar. And that's a huge thing. I know in America especially, but I would say for much of the world, it's this way. I mean, some countries have it a little easier than others in this regard, in this aspect. But I would have to say, to be honest, just first teaching your kids at a young age that, you know, eating healthy can still be fun. Eating healthy can still be fun. You don't have to just eat, candies and cakes and pastries just to have a good time, just to feel good and, get through the day. You can still have, oatmeal with peanut butter, bananas, or oatmeal with peanut butter, blueberries, for example. So instead of, having oatmeal with a lot of sugar and a lot of the other, artificial stuff that they'll have, and especially the packaged oatmeals. So really teaching our kids that we can eat healthy, we can eat natural, and still have a good time. So first, letting them know that, just verbally, just speaking that to them at a young age, that can help get that into their mind a little bit. Obviously, they're not going to fully understand it if it's from a super young age, but that can help kind of ingrain it into their head at a young age, which helps, especially as they get older. Now, from there, I would also emphasize that you could, if you want to, just like a few times throughout the year, give them some candy as like a reward for eating healthy. So that's another thing. But you want to make sure that their diet does mainly consist of not having added sugars in it. Because if you can get them at an early age, at a very early young age, to not get addicted to that and just maybe have it intermittently, like on the holidays, like Halloween, let them have a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit, and then on
Yeah.
certain other times throughout the year, maybe on their birthday, let's say, they can have like a cake and just kind of celebrate, and maybe have a cheat meal one or two times throughout the week. But for the most part, cutting out the added sugar from their diet or their meals at a young age, that'll help keep them from getting addicted and going down that path. Because I know myself, I wasn't really put in that center, or that actual aspect of healthy eating. I was just kind of thrown out there, and just yeah, my parents did try to, have me grow up fairly healthy, but they didn't really make a point to cut out sugars from my diet or teach me too much on that. So really just instructing your kids at an early age, having their diet just be as clean as possible and replacing as much added sugar with natural sugars like fruits, and even having vegetables like sweet vegetables like carrots. That's even a really good option.
Maybe sweet potatoes or something, because I think they are better than normal potatoes anyway.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because they're more of a complex carbohydrate, not a simple carbohydrate. So yeah, just introducing veggies like that and putting a healthy but fun spin on the healthy foods. That's another core thing I would say in the process, while keeping them introduced to healthy eating at a younger age. But yeah, really just keeping your kids aware of what they're eating, and yeah, just keeping them introduced to healthier options and having a positive, fun spin on healthy eating. So instead of just bland, salads or just boring veggies, and that's mainly it, and maybe like an apple here and there, you can actually put a positive spin on it and have it be, again, like oatmeal, fruit and peanut butter, or you could even do sweet potatoes, like you mentioned. So a lot of different options, but essentially more than anything, just keeping the, toxic chemicals out of their body, the toxic sugars out of their body at a young age, and having them go down that path of eating healthier.
Yeah, definitely. If you get it right from the beginning, it's a lot easier to teach them from that age instead of trying to get it right later when you are
Exactly.
older and you are trying to change your programming. It's a lot harder.
Yes. Oh, yeah. First, just really understanding your why. So, understanding why you want to do this, why you want to do that, whatever your goal is, and whatever your objective is at your, current present moment in life. So, could be a huge goal, could be a small goal, could be a goal somewhere in the middle. But however big your goal is, you got to find your why. Like, why do you want to do that? Why do you really want to achieve said goal? And that will help get that motivation, but then that will help with that resilience factor in combination with that. And motivation's good, getting that fire within you about what you want to do, but then it's good to have that resilience and that, because resilience is brilliance, I like to say. And then having that consistency is everything, because motivation, it gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing.
Keeps you going.
And that's what I love. Exactly. That's what I love to say to, not just to myself and remind myself, but I love to tell that to all, like, clients and even people that are not my clients, just anyone, especially that wants that motivation. So that's a core factor in that. Also, too, another key thing in building resilience, and this is something that helped me get out of my depression personally, and this is what can help other people get out of that depression. And even if you're not depressed, this can just help you be happier, period. So just really writing down in a journal if you have one. And if you don't have one, I suggest you get one, because putting it in your phone, that's good. Putting it in your laptop, that's good. Google Docs, stuff like that, that can work. But if you put it, pen to paper, you're literally embedding it into your subconscious mind, literally into your subconscious mind. And so writing out everything and anything that you're grateful for, literally anything and everything. And it could be the smallest of stuff, could be the biggest of stuff. But really, no matter how small or big it is, just writing each and every single thing down in that journal or book that makes you grateful. And then from there, looking at it and reading it out loud. And then every morning, looking at that journal and saying it out loud right before your feet even hit the floor. So that's a huge thing that helped me get over my depression, which can help you too, and really just help you build resilience to become happier with yourself and your life as a whole. Because I guarantee you, there are a lot of things. There's at least a good 10 things easily that everyone's grateful for, if not more. So that's another huge thing in building that resilience. 100%. And from there, I would also recommend, getting out and listening to motivational videos, motivational podcasts such as this, and then also just, you know, working out. Doesn't have to be weightlifting per se, but getting consistent in a workout routine that will help get you more consistent and resilient with whatever comes your way. Because when you work on your body, you can really strengthen your mindset and vice versa. Of course, you want a strong mindset to begin with, but if your mindset's not always, there and it's kind of lacking in a positive manner, in a positive way, and it's hard to break through whatever obstacles up ahead, then sometimes getting your physical self right, that's the key. Now, it could be that you have to get your mindset right first, but if your mindset is just not wanting to, go down the right way, no matter what you seem to do, then really the only other option at this point that I recommend and suggest is just getting out and working out. It doesn't have to even be going to the gym either. It could be just going for a hike. It could be just getting out into nature, going for a hike. And if you have a camera, use that, or you could even use your phone and just take pictures of the nature around you, especially if it's a really, really nice landscape. And if you can do it at sunrise or sunset, that's even like for best results, that's what you could do. Like that's even better. So that's what I recommend because it does sound a little, you know, cliche to some people, but really when you get out and you get out to nature and you take photos of said nature, especially if it's a very scenic, part of nature, that calms you. That will calm your mind. That will ease any tension, any anxiety, and it'll relax you in a sense and to the point within you that it'll make it a lot easier to want to keep going. I mean, it sounds a little crazy to say that, and it doesn't sound like it'd be that effective. It really doesn't, but it really is. It's simple but yet effective in your life. So I would implement that to you.
Yes, for some reason I don't know why people are running away from simple things. So they think that if it's simple, it's not efficient. Or I don't know why, but it looks like
Yeah,
that's a trend.
it's crazy. Yeah, really. I mean, people want to make things so complicated. I hate to say it, but that's a lot of what our society's done. It's like we live in a microwave society, so we want things really done quick, it seems, but we want to make things complicated at the same time.
Exactly.
I think it would be, yeah, it's crazy. We want to go, 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 but at the same time, we want everything complex. They don't say that, but it's like they kind of want that subconsciously. So really just going, for stuff that's more simple sometimes, as such as just going for a walk, going into nature, that'll help tremendously.
Maybe we want to look busy. That's the main reason. Who knows?
I guess so, yeah.
Another thing that should be helpful are habits.
Right, yeah. Morning routine, morning habits, just habits and routines in general are
Yeah,
really good for having that success ultimately build up in the long run. So my routine, my morning routine and habits that I follow, each and every morning is I'll get up and I usually wake up about 6 a.m. So I like to get up early. Now, I'm not saying you have to get up early to be successful. There's some people that get up later and can still grind it out and you know, make it big. But even if you're not one of those people, I still suggest that, getting up early gives you a head start. Now, again, it's not required, but it's better, in my opinion, just because you can get things done earlier in the day before anyone else. Because when I get up, a lot of people are still sleeping.
exactly.
So that's how I like to look at it. So I'm already getting that head start before anyone. Not trying to say I want to, just be better than anyone or anything, but just having that head start. That's key. That's vital. And that gives you that, push, that efficiency from the get go. From there, what I do is you know, I'll have some coffee because I like to wake myself up even more. And I like to wake my brain up so I can really function, really focus on whatever I have to do, throughout the rest of the day. From there, after a cup, maybe 2 cups of coffee at the most, I don't do any more than that. But after 1 to 2 cups, I'll literally just check my pod match and see about matches, who I might need to message back, and take care of that. Takes me about 10 minutes at the 5 to 10 minutes at the most. And then I'll literally right after that return any messages to any clients I have and any potential clients that may have messaged me. And then I'll just get ready, wash up, and get all my stuff and hit the gym typically, and then get that out of the way. So that way I have that done. I took care of myself, and then from there I can leave the gym and take care of anyone else.
Exactly.
And then I just message, "Oh yeah, yeah, you got it." And that's a quick tip to you. Take care of yourself. Yeah, really, it does sound selfish to some people, but it's really not selfish. Taking care of yourself first is key before anything and anyone else. So making sure to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else or anything
Exactly.
else for that matter.
Exactly.
You have to first just focus on what you need, what you want at the moment, but especially what you need. And then from there, yeah, just going all in and going all out with whatever else you need to do. But that's what I do. And so from there, I help people out, clients, of course, first and foremost. And then from there, I'll message more people that might need my help. some cold messaging, warm messaging for my business, and then make some content. But typically, I already have it pre-recorded, so I'll just post the content that I have pre-recorded for my email to all my social media. And then yeah, just do any other coaching calls I might have with said clients, and that's much of my day. And then I'll do some podcast interviews, might work on some workout videos for my training program for said clients and future clients, and that's mainly it. And then meal prep, or at the very least I'll make some fresh meals if I don't have anything prepped out.
I'm an early bird too, so usually I wake up at 4:30. I'm doing that for the
Nice.
last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So definitely that's good for me. Exactly what you said. It's not for everyone. You don't have to do it, but whoever can do it, it's really good to wake up at the time. I'm doing my 5K every day, even if I'm not running. I'm just
Nice.
walking. So that's really good. Definitely, you have a
Oh yeah.
different start of the day.
Oh yeah, always. That's how you do it. And then the only other thing I could throw in is, I'll do an audition video if I have it, because I also do some acting, modeling
Oh,
on the side when I'm not helping
Reagan,
people
right?
out. Yeah, that's the upcoming film I'm supposed to be in. I was actually a Secret Service agent to, former President Reagan, who happened to be Dennis Quaid, who was playing that, role or that character. So that was really neat. Just having a real life Uzi. Obviously, it wasn't loaded, but I had that real life Uzi with me, just acting like I was shooting or defending the president. Shooting the enemies in sight. So that was cool.
That's really cool. And when is going to be released?
So it has been postponed, due to COVID, like when it first
Okay,
was
fair enough.
announced. Now it's supposed to be 2023, so this year. I don't know the exact date though. I mean, I would have to say it would be this fall, because that's about the only part of the year that's left. They haven't really came out.
Fair
It's
enough.
crazy. They have not came out and said the exact day or month yet at all. Just a year. But with it being so late in the year, it would have to be like the end of this year, unless they come out and say that it's going to be 2024 now. But it
I don't
should
know
have
what's
it
happening
should
with
have been
Hollywood
already.
these
Yeah.
days. They are pretty quiet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. And then the strikes that are going on. I mean, it's just a whole nother deal in itself, too.
And now to wrap up, how can our listeners reach out to learn more about your work?
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to find me, learn more about me, what I do, and all the people that I've helped, and if you want the help too, and you need the help especially, then you can find me at romanfisherofficial.com. That's my direct website, where you can go in and see all my client transformations, all my client testimonials, my own transformation even. And then from there, you can even apply for getting help with your fitness goals. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm there too. You can connect with me at Roman Fisher Official across Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube and TikTok.
Okay, thanks, Roman. And hopefully, I'll see you next time.
Sounds like a plan. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Roman. If you've enjoyed this episode, please visit thetribearchitect.com/4. Then share the link with one person that you believe it would add value to. Until next time, thank you for listening.